Hello there, you awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me today for Stay Free with Russell Brand, where we get to, if we choose, awaken together in the spirit of love and unity, far from the globalist propaganda that says that free stream services such as this one are about propagating hate speech, always vague with what the word hate might mean when it comes to legislating against it. We want to unify people. We want to see a stream on Rumble full of love, because every time we turn against one another with invective and rhetoric that is full of loathing, they benefit. They want us divided. The thing they fear most of all is us uniting against them. Cheers. So we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to touch on I'm not going to touch on, actually. We're going to scrutinize the ongoing, is it a theory? Is it an idea? Is it a whimsical notion that Taylor Swift is a psyop? I remember that I met Taylor Swift when years and years ago. I wasn't sure whether it was a psyop, even though she seemed like a very nice human being, as a matter of fact. But the fact is, we know that the CIA have departments and tendrils within Hollywood. Not suggesting that Taylor Swift is a psyop, but we do know that celebrities offer endorsements to particular political movements, and we do know that there are curious relationships between deep state agencies and entertainment figures. Hey, what was the Epstein story all about? So maybe it's not a ridiculous conspiracy theory, even though my personal view is that Taylor Swift is not a psyop. But let's have a look at that idea, and let's have a look at how the legacy media are reporting on it as well. War with Iran seems to be a popular idea, if you believe the military-industrial complex. Certainly Joe Biden seems pretty excited about it. If you're watching us on YouTube, we will be available there for 15 minutes. Then we will be exclusively available on the free stream that is Rumble. Consider becoming an Awaken Wonder so you can see our content first. You get exclusive content, like tomorrow we're posting an exclusive additional interview between me and Tucker Carlson that will only be available for Awaken Wonders. And just now I was talking to Michael Schellenberger on the same site for our Awakened Wonders, for our supporters. It was a brilliant conversation because he unpacked how the pipe bomb idea, have you heard that stuff? The January 6th conspiracy theory, you've heard this stuff? It's an extraordinary conversation. You will love it. But let's focus now on the main story. Well, certainly it should be the main story if you're concerned in, I don't know, your own life. This is the escalation of tensions in the Middle East that might lead to all-out war. Biden has to deal with a second war he didn't want. His task is to contain it. If you don't want it, stop advocating for it. Stop spending so much money on it. Stop bloody well provoking it. Let's have a look at Joe Biden saying that this was all caused by Trump. And if you are in the Rumble chat, let me know. Who would you rather have handling a global crisis right now? This adorable gentleman pictured here, Joe Biden, that's number one. Or number two, your former love, Donald Trump. Let's have a look at Biden on what's causing this escalating crisis in the region. He says, make no mistake, it's Donald Trump's fault. Let's have a look at what he said, though, in 2020.
The world has changed because of what Trump has done. And the American people, including independents and some Republicans, know how bad he is, know how much he's misrepresented, know how he's getting close to getting us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this election.
He was a lot more cogent then, wasn't he? Just a few years ago. My God, that's incredible. A lot of you saying RFK in the chat. That's pretty fascinating. Well done getting involved, you guys. Well done speaking so respectfully with one another in that chat. If you're watching us on YouTube, we'll be available there for another 10 minutes. Then we will be exclusively discussing a wide variety of subjects over in Rumble. And thanks for your kind comments about the interview with Tucker. If you ain't watched it yet, give it a watch. And remember, if you become an Awaken Wonder over on Locals, you can see our additional conversation. Now, this Taylor Swift psyop conspiracy theory is gaining traction, and I suppose the idea that that there are now sort of celebrities that solely exist to support the agenda of a particular administration might be an exaggeration, and might even be slightly ludicrous. Because I've existed within Hollywood, haven't I? I've been within those circles, and I guess it's a little more diffuse and amorphous than that. As far as I know, there aren't people that are literally kind of CIA operatives. But let's have a look. Is this the legacy media button for, though? Let's have a look at the legacy media reporting on this. Is that it? Is this the legacy media bit, yeah?
Have you heard the latest conspiracy theory making the rounds? Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, and the NFL and the Democratic Party are in cahoots to get Joe Biden reelected. But stay with me. Prominent right-wing figures are speculating that her relationship with Travis Kelce is made up and that the Super Bowl will be rigged for Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs. And the end game is Swift endorsing Biden after the big game. Here are some of the messages, I'm trying not to laugh, circulating on social media. Vivek Ramaswamy, I wonder who's going to win the Super Bowl next month. Podcast host Mike Crispy, the NFL is totally rigged for the Kansas City Chief. Taylor Swift, Mr.
Right, okay. That is quite diffuse. I wonder if it is possible to rig sporting events. Do you think that's ever happened in history? I suppose it probably has. Does the advocacy of certain celebrities influence the outcome of elections? Certainly, political parties seem pretty keen to get the endorsement of celebrities. And one of the things we learned, I think, from the Epstein case, because I was much more interested on the Epstein list in the people that have been to that island that were prominent political figures or deep state operatives. And indeed, the theory that, now can we do it so that we stay on, we're at 1:42 on this CNN story, right? Now I'm going to jump to this Epstein's thing. Let's have a look. Look, Jeffrey Epstein ran sex blackmail operation for intelligence agencies, new evidence suggests. Newly unsealed documents include powerful new evidence that Epstein and Maxwell were running what's known as a honeypot or honey trap. So there were a lot of pretty famous people went to that island, it appears. And I suppose that needn't necessarily mean they were involved in things that were absolutely nefarious or even illegal. But a CIA asset having connections with famous people and the blackmail operation thing, that's not ludicrous. Check out this as well. Like the brilliant film Top Gun Maverick. You enjoyed that, right? It was a real hoot. It was a laugh. Who didn't enjoy it? They received support from the Department of Defense in the form of equipment, including jets and aircraft carriers and personnel and tech. So, in a sense, that's one connection or another connection between the entertainment industry and the government. And have a look at this. A year after the CIA was formed, the Pentagon established the position of an entertainment liaison officer. The CIA already had similar departments in operation. Since 1947, they've assisted and funded the production of 60 film and television shows. That's really surprising, and it's not nothing. And again, I'm not suggesting that Taylor Swift is a psyop. It's just, when you look at some of the speculation, it's astonishing because at a time where you have Biden openly advocating for more war, while you have people coming on legacy media in our country saying that conscription is a real possibility and suggesting that the Defense Department in the UK ought to receive additional tax funding, having kind of light, fluffy stories in affiliation with popular, credible, and I know a lot of people, we were talking to people in the office, a lot of people really, really like Taylor Swift. It's not, I'm not part of that demographic. I acknowledge that. But obviously, an endorsement from a celebrity is a significant thing in ensuring that the agenda of the powerful remains a kind of cozy and attractive thing rather than something that we increasingly regard as outright, explicitly, observably, and overtly nefarious. That's increasingly how we regard the establishment and their agenda. Isn't that right? Isn't that how we see things? All right, let's go back now to that CNN video. What number is it on?
Have you heard the latest?
Cheers. That's cool. Yeah, cool. Right, 147. We were on 147.
Swift, Mr. Pfizer, Travis Kelce, Lara Loomer, a self-described Islamophobe who has been embraced and promoted by Trump. They are going to use Taylor Swift as the poster child for their pro-abortion GOTV campaign. Right-wing media personality Benny Johnson said Taylor Swift is an op. CNN's Oliver Darcy joins me to break all these very bogus claims down, and we're going to highlight that, underscore it, bogus claims.
Now, what you'll like about this piece of CNN reporting, even though I agree with the idea that Taylor Swift is not a psyop, that's fundamentally what I'd say. I would say that the use of celebrities does make certain political administrations and even particular ideologies more appealing. It softens them. It's called soft propaganda. You're all familiar with that. What I am interested in here is the kind of haughtiness of this conversation, the superciliousness, the presumption of pomposity, the general condescending tone when people talk about these types of ideas, when we already now know that even if this particular idea is not true, these types of things happen all the time. Let's have a look.
but it is happening. Take it away, Oliver.
Yeah, Dan, I mean, they're absurd claims, outrageous claims, but they are coming from some of the most prominent voices in right-wing media. And so while us in reality consuming credible news information might
see that us in reality consuming credible news information on CNN, which I think we now know gets less viewers than like a Western broadcasting TV channel like that. CNN is dying, and CNN is deservedly entering into this terminal state on account of its negligent reporting during the pandemic period, its propagandizing, its advocacy for war, their constant platforming of military-industrial complex pundits who don't declare their affiliation and association while positing pro-war stances. It's when I do little sentences like that, that's when I think I could do a Ben Shapiro-style rap with that dude, Tom McDonald, he reached out, I think, on X saying, oh, well, you do want to do one. And I'm certainly, I don't want to get into some sort of thing. That is not the direction I'm going in. I'm all about peace, but man, do I enjoy rhythmic, lyrical rhetoric and orating, high-paced, lyrically clashing into consonants and rolling with the vowels right now. Is that the sort of thing? Would that do? Could we do that? Let's have a look at how this CNN propaganda unfolds.
laugh at them because they are so ridiculous and outlandish. The people who rely and kind of are swimming in this polluted right-wing information space, you could see how they might apparently be, or
NZ67 in the Rumble chat. Don't do it, Russ. Yeah, no, that's good advice. I won't. I'm English.
Attracted to some of these ideas because they're being inundated by them from some of the most prominent voices. It's not just those right-wing internet influencers who are now peddling this stuff. Jesse Waters, a Fox News host, earlier this month did a whole segment asking whether Taylor Swift is a Pentagon asset. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, but it's out there, and it really is going to end up influencing a lot of people who rely on these outlets and figures for information.
Do you reckon both sides of the political conversation enjoy a story like this, that CNN enjoy the haughtiness of being able to say, oh, how ridiculous, another conspiracy theory? But do you think people on the other side sort of enjoy the idea that high-profile figures might be shilling for the Democrat Party? Where we live, we believe in new, emergent, independent politics. What we require, I believe, and let me know if you agree with this in the chat, is a unified but decentralized response to globalism. Precisely like the farmers' movement across the world, where ordinary people, working people, are coming together to oppose a globalist agenda, and as usual, are immediately condemned for being racist or Nazi or whatever it is this week that shuts down the right of ordinary people to have a voice. What's this news report?
When Taylor Swift encouraged her fans last fall to vote, more than 35,000 signed up. And with 690 million followers on her social media, if Taylor Swift were to get behind one of the presidential candidates, nearly 1 in 5 people say they'd likely vote for her pick.
I don't know which pop star I would vote in alignment with. Let me know in the chat if there are any pop stars that could influence your vote, even in maybe Jimi Hendrix. Could he sway me for just the fact that he was talking from beyond the grave? Is there anyone? I'm not sure. Really, the position I'm in now is let's have something worth voting for. Hey, I hope you've seen my conversation with Tucker Carlson that I did with him. It's up in a variety of places now. Love Tucker, you know that. But our conversation that we recorded with him will be exclusively available on Locals. That's our Awakened Wonder community at 4 p.m. GMT, 11 a.m. ET. You got to sign up for that stuff. We'll show bits of it elsewhere. We'll stream it and stuff, bits of it. But to get total access to it, join our Awakened Wonder community. We just had a brilliant conversation there with Michael Schellenberger and numerous members of our community. I'm talking like Heal Love Light and Jim Earthsea and Miss Molly and For Real and Alpine Sweet. Many of them posed questions to Michael Schellenberger, and they're brilliant questions about, well, in a sense, like, while they're saying that it's ridiculous, puerile, infantile to talk about the Taylor Swift being a psyop, it's increasingly becoming clear that there's been a lot of media manipulation, to say the very least, around January 6th, and you will love that aspect of the conversation that John Lennon, that conversation with Schellenberger, and that'll be up tomorrow as well in the Awaken Wonder community. Yeah, John Lennon, I would vote in accordance with John Lennon. There's no question about that. Here's Tucker Carlson talking about conscription. Let's have a look at that.
We have a right to be mad. At least, and let me just again...
this is from us. This is our Awaken Wonder chat. This is good, this stuff. Have a look.
Speak for Americans, middle-aged Americans, which is what I am. I've got 4 draft-age children. So if you're playing recklessly, fast and loose with their lives, then I have a right to despise you, and I do. So if you're Nikki Haley, who's running for president, or Ben Shapiro, or half the people I see on television casually mentioning the possibility of nuclear war or sending Americans to fight in the Middle East, or in any way involving us in a war that has nothing to do with prosperity and peace at home, nothing, in other words, to do with us, Americans, then I have a right to call you out and be really offended, because it's my family. They live here. It's not a joke to me. There's nothing abstract about it. And that is the difference between what's happening in the Middle East from what's happening in Ukraine, about which I had very strong feelings, but I didn't think there was a realistic possibility that my kids could be enmeshed in it. Now there is.
If you want to see that whole conversation, it'll be up tomorrow. We've posted the link in the description right now. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, regulated by the WHO, is it a globalist asset at this point? Is it censored? Is it part of the Trusted News Initiative, a cartel of media organizations that cooperate together to ensure that independent media is choked? That's what the Trusted News Initiative say their purpose in life is. And anyone who uses trusted in their name has got to be investigated. I'm just telling you guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, we're going to leave now, because we're going to be talking about the WHO, and that community is still regulated. But before we go, let's post in the YouTube chat this treaty this petition that opposes the World Health Organization's treaty. This is for the UK one, so I guess you should be a UK resident to sign it. If it gets to 100,000 signatures, they'll debate it in Parliament. And geez, if you've got my kind of perspective on UK parliamentary democracy, you'll already know that I consider it to be a closed book, a facade, a kind of bagatelle, a game that can't be won. But sign that petition if you are a UK resident, because surely we must oppose this WHO treaty. Click the link. Join us on Rumble now so we can speak freely together, destroying hate, in creating love. Okay.